Hello everyone. This presentation is regarding etching microfabrication. The topics under discussion will be follows: history of etching, need for etching, its figures of merit, its types, advantages and disadvantages, and then we'll end the discussion with its future scope. This is an etching by Rembrandt, who is considered as the greatest etcher in the history of printmaking. In the ancient times, etching could not be used in electronic industries because there were none. Instead, it was used in printmaking. And this is one of the ancient prints known as Christ Preaching, or the 100 guilder print. Etching is traditionally the process of using a strong acid or mordant to cut into the unprotected parts of a metal surface and create a design in the metal. In modern manufacturing, other chemicals may be used on other types of materials. In a number of modern variants such as microfabrication etching and photochemical milling, it is a crucial technique in much modern technology, including circuit boards. In case of microfabrication, etching is used to remove layers from the surface of wafer during manufacturing. A wafer is basically a sliced semiconductor such as crystalline silicon, which is used in IC fabrication. Etching is a very important process because every wafer has to undergo many etching steps before it is completed. For many etch steps, part of the wafer is protected from the etchant by masking material which resists etching. In some cases, masking material could be a photoresist, which is a photosensitive material placed temporarily on the wafer, and it is similar to photosensitive coating on the film of a camera. Other situations require a durable mask such as a silicon nitride. What is the need for etching? Etching removes the thin, highly deformed layer which might have been introduced during grinding and polishing. In alloys with more than one phase, etching creates contrast between different regions through difference in topography and reflectivity. Figures of merit. If we intend to make a cavity in a material, the depth can be controlled by using etching time and the known etch rate. More often though, etching must entirely remove the top layer of the multilayer structure without damaging the underlying or the masking layers. The ability of the system to do so is called selectivity, and this is one of the figures of the merit. Also, some etches undercut the masking layer and form cavities with sloping side walls. The distance of undercutting is called bias. Etchants with larger bias are called isotropic because they erode the substrate equally in all directions. However, modern processes prefer anisotropic etchants because they produce sharp, well-controlled features. This is a diagrammatic representation of the figures of merit. In case of selectivity, in first diagram, the etchant used is poorly selective because it not only removes the top layer but also the underlying blue layer. In the second figure, the etchant used is highly selective because it leaves the underlying material unharmed. In case of isotropy, the first diagram depicts a perfectly isotropic etch as it produces round side walls, and the second diagram depicts a perfectly anisotropic etch which produces vertical side walls. Next are the types of etching. The two types of etching are wet and dry. Wet etching is also called liquid phase etching, and dry etching is also called plasma phase because we use plasma in this case. The basic principle of a wet etching process is the conversion of solid materials into liquid compounds using chemical solutions. In case of wet etching, the wafer is immersed in a bath of etchant which must be agitated to achieve good process control. Wet etching requires disposal of a large amount of toxic waste, and for this reason they are seldom used. Following are the steps involved in wet etching. The first step is the transport of etchant from the solution to the surface to be etched. The second step is surface reaction, in which the etchant must reach with the surface to be etched. And the last step is removal of reaction products from the surface. This figure shows the reactions involved in silicon wet etching. As we can see that both oxidation and reduction reaction takes place in case of wet etching of silicon. Next is dry etching. Modern VLSI processes avoid wet etching and use plasma etching instead. Plasma etchers can operate in several modes by adjusting the parameters of plasma. The plasma produces energetic free radicals, neutrally charged, that react at the surface of the wafer. Since neutral particles attack the wafer from all angles, this process is isotropic. Plasma etching can be anisotropic as well. The source gas for plasma usually contains small molecules which are rich in chlorine and fluorine. For instance, carbon tetrachloride etches silicon and aluminium, and trifluoromethane etches silicon dioxide and silicon nitride. This figure depicts how etching works. First, we prepare a wafer, which is an oxide layer over a substrate. Then we apply photoresist over the oxide layer. After that, we align the photomask and then expose it to UV light. After exposure to UV light, we see that a part of photoresist has been removed. This part wasn't masked, so it has been removed. After the removal of photoresist, we remove the exposed oxide layer and we get the resultant substrate. Then we discuss the advantages and disadvantages of etching. In case of wet etching, the advantages are high selectivity, and it is a low cost and simple process. Its disadvantages are chemical contamination and undercutting. In case of dry etching, the advantages are that it has capability of automation and it reduces material consumption. Its disadvantages, anisotropy. Now we end our discussion with the future scope of etching. Etching of thin films is a key technology in modern ICA manufacturing. Dry etching is used almost exclusively today because of the control, flexibility, reproducibility, and anisotropy that it provides. I hope you liked the presentation. Thank you.